Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Women in Leadership Talk podcast. Today, joining us, we have Blima Ehrentreu from, I think you're calling in from New York. Is that right, Erin?
I'm in Miami right now, but close.
Yeah, okay, awesome. Well, we're excited to have you here, and I want to take a moment and just thank our audience for being here today. We know you have a choice as to what podcast you're listening to, and right now we're being listened to in about 50 countries, so we're thrilled for that. And, we're going to bring you a great show today and get to learn a little bit about the design industry and the work that Blima is doing with her and her team. So let me give you a background on her. She's the founder and CEO of the Designers Group. She combines her creativity and talent to inform the design industry. And her passion for empowering women, giving back to the community, and championing women in the workforce earned her spots on Globalist Women of Influence in 2020 and 2022, plus Crane's Notable Leaders in Real Estate in 2023. So some great accomplishments. The Designers Group's diverse project portfolio spans through residential and commercial sectors, and Inc. magazine ranked the Designers Group number 15 among top fastest growing private companies in the New York metro area in 2021. So they are considered a key industry leader in design and at the forefront of cutting edge interior design, specializing in high-end interior spaces for commercial, residential, and healthcare portfolios. Blima also devotes a lot of her time to the community and is an unshakable force in this industry. So let's jump in and chat with you about all these things that you're doing, and just first and foremost, Blima, what drove your passion to be in the design industry?
I still remember when I was growing up, my parents moved our family across the street from our childhood home and began a gut renovation project where they actually ended up tearing down the entire house. So we were able to watch from across the street the entire process. And I was so fascinated by how seeing drawings on a 2D floor plan and watching them come to life. As well, I loved seeing the designer that my parents were working with, her choices, and how a little spot of paint on a piece of paper actually created this environment in a room. I'm really seeing that process from demolition to laying the foundation to watching the walls go up, all of that. I was so fascinated, and I knew this was an industry that I wanted to get into. And being an artistic person, it just felt like design was a natural choice.
Oh, wow. So that's amazing how your childhood experiences has influenced where you are today. And, just based on the awards you've received already, just like really, doing some incredible work. So this is a fascinating industry because it typically is male dominated. And not so much on the design aspect of it, but the whole construction, from, to your point, from ground level up. So what has helped you really navigate, being in that environment? Because we have a lot of audience members who come from tech or finance, which are also highly male dominated.
I believe that good work speaks for itself, and that's really what we focus on. So we're not about who and what, it's more about the actual product that we're offering. And I always say that our team is super diverse. We have literally designers from around the world, and we believe that because everyone goes through different experiences, they're coming from different countries, from different cultures, from different religions, that all impacts the way they experience things and the way they see things. And taking all of those experiences and using them as a way for us to approach the projects that we're working on and the designs, we have the ability to be so much more innovative. And I look at that with everything that we're doing. We're also working on diverse project types. So taking aspects from one industry and bringing it into another is so important. And definitely that was one of the decisions when I was getting into the industry, knowing that there weren't that many women, and knowing that I want our work to be special. I want to do something that will really make an impact. And I believe that as women, we do have that ability. So it's been
I
an
would agree.
incredible journey. And we appreciate everyone who's taken an opportunity on us, both men and women alike. And it's just been really incredible.
Oh, that's awesome. And I love how you shared the totality of diversity that you incorporate, because you're working with lots of different clients, so you're complementing that with a diverse workforce as well. So just I'll give you a little background on me. Growing up, my mom was a contractor. she was she was a builder in Tennessee, and one of the first women ever to, because this was years ago, right? And she, like you, had this incredible passion for it. And I always said to her, I said, how did you, because like you're the only woman on this crew basically. And she's like, yes, but I just let them know what my boundaries were, and we carried on. And she said, because it was about the project. So similar to what you're saying. And I think that translates as well, whether it's finance or IT. It's not getting so focused on who, it's more about what are you trying to accomplish and how collectively do you bring the best from that?
100%. And I think it's important that we shouldn't lose sight of that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, as designers or contractors, we're passionate about what we're doing and we want to be able to create. So that's what we need to focus on.
Yeah, exactly. And that creation is part of your legacy, right? Like, I mean, because that's so incredible that you have the ability to have this vision and see how to bring something to fruition given what your client is looking for. And that takes a lot of skill and passion to be able to do that.
Yeah, we love that. I feel very lucky that I get to do something that I love, and I know that my team feels the same way. And interestingly, our motto really is designing with purpose, creating a better world.
Nice.
We believe that the designs that we're creating are really giving people better experiences, allowing them to maximize their potential in the space, whatever that space is, and whatever the vision or mission for that space is, we're enabling people to be able to function properly in this space and really optimize their potential.
Yeah.
So it's really impactful, and we're so happy we're able to do it. And it brings to mind when I was growing up, back to that, but I used to go visit an older woman. She was in a nursing home. And I remember that there was this renovation and a new building was built. And basically they moved a lot of the residents from the older building into the newer building. So when I had started visiting her, she was in the old building, and probably a year in, she moved to this new beautiful building. And I was able to see such a transformation. She seemed 5 years younger, and really she was getting older. And she was in a room, there was a ton of natural light now, the blinds worked, she was much more comfortable, just the whole environment was so much more positive. And seeing that transformation, I knew that I wanted to get involved in the space somehow. So that's why when I started design, originally I was in residential, but I always knew I wanted to get into commercial / healthcare, senior living, because every project that we work on positively impacts people's lives and can really help not just their quality of life, but help them really live longer, better lives.
Well, it's funny you say that because I'll use my mom again as an example, right? Because now she's very much a senior, and her last renovation, I would say, was just before COVID. So she was working well up into her 70s because she's now 81, right? But she talks about that too, Blima, the importance, because she lives on the side of a mountain, and the interior and the exterior of her home is lots of windows, lots of natural light. She can breathe. She wakes up every morning looking at these beautiful mountains, and she says, like, this is where I'm going to die. like, do not take me from here, right? But the whole environment, it breathes life into her. And so what you're saying is the same thing. And that becomes even more important, especially in like long-term care facilities, even assisted living, like that becomes really crucial. So what have you found to be your greatest learning so far?
Every day I learn something new. But I always say that it's not just about learning, or sometimes the learning experience is making mistakes. It's taking those mistakes and learning from them. I remember our first project we worked on, we were working on a residential home, and we designed the living room. We were so excited. Delivery day arrives, and they cannot get the sofa through the front door.
Oh,
I didn't even think of that. We bent over those plans and made sure all the materials matched and created such a vibe for the room, but we completely forgot about the delivery aspect. This was an older home, the door was small, couldn't get it in. So we obviously took responsibility for it, which is super important when making mistakes, owning up to them. And we spoke to the company. There was a restocking fee involved, which obviously we took care of. But now, anytime we're working on a project, I know to consider how whatever it is that we're designing will fit into the space. So right now we're working on a very large event space in Brooklyn. And the ceilings are 18 feet high, but they're in the basement. So it's actually like a cellar and a sub-cellar of like event space. And we're including these floor to ceiling partitions so that the space could function as a larger space, but then also it can be divided into smaller spaces. And I remember saying to the lead designer of the project, how are we getting these partitions into the space? Because once the elevators are in, those partitions will not fit.
oh my goodness.
So it was just interesting because this is an entirely different project, an entirely different usage of a space, but taking those lessons and making sure to learn from them and incorporate them. And that is something that my team knows. We're always learning. We want to stay innovative. We want to be at the head of design and make sure that we're advising our clients and we're giving them the best possible service. But we are human. So it is possible that we'll make mistakes, but we have to learn from them and make sure that we don't make those mistakes twice.
Yeah. Wow, thankfully you saw that and realized it, because I'm sure when you're in that creative genius, right? You're all about how do we make this space so amazing, and it'd be easy to forget the details, but the details are clearly very, very important in how everything comes together.
So it's interesting that you say that, how a space looks, because we're all about the experience in a space. So it's not just the way it looks, which the way it looks is super important, but we want to make sure to engage all five senses.
Lovely.
Because that way a space gives the user the best experience. So imagine when you're in a restaurant and you can't hear the person near you.
Oh, yes.
Or when there's a bad smell. Like I said, we work on a lot of senior living communities, and something that we always advise our clients is putting in these scents into the actual HVAC so that there's a pleasant smell when people walk through its door. It makes such a difference. And I'm sure you know yourself when you go into hotels, there's always that smell, or lounges when I'm traveling. I know I always travel Delta, so I know the Delta lounge has that smell. So it also gives you those associations. But these are all things that we really make sure to incorporate. It's not just the way it looks and not just the way it functions, but the overall experience that people will be having. And that typically is optimized by engaging all five senses.
I love that. I love that. And yes, you're absolutely right. As you were saying that, I started thinking about spaces I've been in and whether it's attracting me or repelling me, right? Because the smell is a big one and it can very quickly turn you off. So all five senses are being employed as you're doing the design process.
Yes.
Love it. So let's switch gears just a little bit because, I know one of the things that you've shared that's really important to you is giving back to the community, but also empowering women. So let's talk about that a little bit. Like, how are you giving back to the community and why? Why is that so important to you?
So back to our motto, which is designing with purpose, creating a better world. We believe that our designs do that, but taking it a step further, we want to make the world a better place. Mm-hmm. We're all about doing that. And how best can we do that? By giving back. Mm-hmm. So we use our firm as a platform to be able to launch several different initiatives, and we want to keep growing them and keep expanding. The one that takes up the most of my time is the TDG Furniture Exchange, which is a platform for people who have furniture to give away, and we match them with people who need it.
Oh, fabulous.
So rewarding seeing one person's, I wouldn't call it garbage, but something they can no longer use, be extremely useful and a lifesaver for so many other people.
Yeah.
And it's all about sustainability. We're repurposing furniture, giving it a new life instead of sending it to landfills. So we're really passionate about it. We're operating in 9 locations so far, and we'd love to continue expanding. We just launched a new website for it that makes it a lot easier. People can just upload their furniture on their own, and it gets posted to the site, and people can browse and
amazing
any pieces that they need. Yeah, so it's been a process getting the website to function as we would like, but it's really making the process a lot more seamless, and it's giving us the capacity to exponentially grow the initiative. So we're really excited about that. And then we have the TDG Insider, which is an initiative. We are prospective designers, either someone who's finishing high school or college, or someone who's looking for a second career. Mm-hmm. Give them the opportunity to come to our office and spend a day at a design firm to understand if this is a career that they even want to go into. I remember when I was finishing high school, people used to ask me, what do you want to do? And I had so many ideas of what I wanted to do, but I really wanted to understand what all of those careers really meant. So that's why we have this option for people. They can apply on our website, and they get to spend the day doing different tasks related to what our designers actually do. And they also have the opportunity to be mentored by any of our lead designers. And it's been really impactful seeing that people are able to make an informed decision. We actually had someone come for the program, and our hiring manager liked him. She thought he showed a lot of potential, and we hired him, and he worked for us for about a year and then got a full scholarship to Yale.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Yeah, so we've really been able to see and help people in their careers, which is something that I'm so proud of, and it goes back to the giving back and mentoring people in the industry. And as well, I coach different women who are in entrepreneurial position and need help. So it's been really impactful seeing how we're able to help people and continue to make the world a better place, not just with our designs, but beyond.
That's amazing. So I love how you're giving back because it's productive, number one, but it's also heart-centered and it's a need, right? And when you were talking about this, with students or people who are, trying to figure out what's that next career move, and this is something you're passionate about, it gives you a chance to actually experiment and try it, right? And talk to people who do it every day. And how are they loving it or not loving it, or, right? Like that is such an important opportunity, especially for our young people. So my youngest started university last September, and to your point, she was like, there's so many things that I want to do, but trying to figure out how do I experiment? How do I try? Right. And before you go to university, like that's a really important step to take, and just experiment with it. See what you like.
Before investing all that time and money, really understanding what speaks to you. Just because a job sounds exciting or sounds like you might like it, if you don't understand what it entails, then it's hard to make an informed decision.
Absolutely. And then you become, disenchanted because you're like, that's not really what I want. Or you become so passionate like yourself where it's like, no, I know this is what I want to do. And, being able to do it in a multitude of avenues, right? Like the giving back and how you're matching the furniture with people, like that is just amazing. I love that. So if you were thinking about what you would like to share with whether men, women, in regards to navigating, industries that are maybe more male dominated or maybe female dominated, like how would you want to share that navigation with them?
I believe if you have a good product / service and believe in what it is that you're doing, you will be able to navigate anything. So it doesn't matter if the industry is male dominated, female dominated, if there are any extenuating circumstances, whatever it is, if you have something amazing to offer, people will be able to see that. Yeah. And you have to believe in yourself and go after what you want, and you'll get it.
Yeah, I love that. So Blima, how do you keep your energy high and that optimism? What are some of the things that you do?
I love to travel. I find that when I travel, there's so much that I learn from, like I said, different countries, different cultures, different climates, seeing how people live in different places. And the world itself is such a beautiful place. I know when I see sunsets, like I don't get bored of them. Just the colors and how every night it looks different. And I know in some places, like in Florida, where I live, the sunsets are spectacular. In Brooklyn, the sunrises are amazing. Just where I live and the views. But everywhere I travel, I've been to Alaska, seeing the ice and the mountain tops, just really everywhere I go. And also just being able to travel and seeing how different people live and seeing how different even hotels operate. And speaking of Alaska, I'm thinking of the cruise I went on. I mean, looking at how the ship was built and looking how it operated, because every week there were thousands or hundreds of people getting on that ship and watching the turnover. I just find it like inspiring, seeing how people come up with all these ideas and how things work. And I will say that technology is something that's super fascinating for me. And we've really been exploring technology and incorporating it into our processes. And it's been really incredible. I mean, we've been leveraging AI, seeing what it can do, always making sure to stay innovative so we can give our clients the best service. Keeps me excited. It definitely keeps me stimulated, and keeps our team innovative, and it's just really exciting.
I love it. So what I heard there, and I'm gonna just zone in on this for a moment, because I think it's so important for our audience, paying attention to the environment around you. What can you learn from it? Get curious. That's what I'm hearing you say, Blima, that curiosity of how things are working and how to stay innovative and stimulated in our world, because there is such vast resource around us and we can learn so much from that.
For sure. I always say when I'm talking to my team, don't just look at design firms for inspiration. Look at different companies. Look look at how they work. When we were building our company culture, we didn't just look at design firms. We looked at accounting firms. We looked at real estate companies. We really looked around at any company that had culture. We wanted to see who we wanted to be. I believe that diversity is key to that, which also is very stimulating and interesting and keeps things exciting because it's not same. There's always something different. And I am lucky because the design industry is super interesting and we're working on so many different project types. In and of itself there's just so much there.
Yeah. Well, and where my head goes when you say that is like, from the design perspective, you have to be super curious, right? Because you're trying to create and you're also trying to capture what's in the mind of someone else. Like what's their vision and how do you bring that to life in a way that appeals to all the senses, which you talked about earlier. That's incredible.
I that's another thing that clients are not always able to verbalize what it is that they're looking for. They might tell us, I want a very dark, moody space. And we'll come back to them with something that's bright and airy with lots of natural light. But that's really what they wanted.
Yeah.
So it's about understanding what their vision for the space is, who will be using it, and how best to optimize it, but also listening to what people are not saying.
Yeah, I love that. Right, yeah, and that's where my head went, because you have to really extract a lot of information, right, to really help create what that space, what that feeling is, so that someone just, when they walk into it, it's like, this is exactly what I wanted. And that requires a lot of strong communication skills.
Yeah, just to go back, if someone really wants a moody space, we definitely will deliver. But what I meant was that sometimes people think they want something, but they're really saying something else.
Yeah. Yes, you're 100% right. I mean, I deal with that in my work too, right? Where somebody might come to me and say, Vicki, I'd like you to help me with making a career transition. That might be an example. But at the end of the day, what they're really looking for is that confidence to ask for what they want, right? To negotiate, all the different benefits that they're looking for. And so it's deeper than just what's on the surface. And that takes excavating, peeling back layers to really understand. So I love how you've brought that in, because I think sometimes we think, oh yeah, that's so simple. You just put together some paint and no, it's not. It's about really understanding the person and that vision, and then how to compile and bring all of that into the space that they want to have created. Mm-hmm. Love it. So I'm looking at our time here. So what are you most proud of so far? And how do you celebrate those successes?
Everything we've been talking about is really what I'm proud of. I'm proud of the impact that our projects have. I love seeing people using the spaces that we design. Especially proud of our charitable efforts, because at the end of the day, I believe we're here to make the world a better place. So that's something that I'm so proud of. And I remember when COVID hit and all of a sudden it was like, hey, are we gonna continue working? Our industry is gonna be the same. And I remember thinking that anything we've done to make the world a better place will always be here.
Yeah.
So that's for sure where I stand with that. And in terms of celebrating the successes is really continuing to grow and continuing to expand so that I get to do more of what I love.
Beautiful, beautiful. So what's next for the Designers Group?
There are so many exciting things in the pipeline. We're looking at expanding and continuing to grow. We are rolling out some smart building technologies that we would love to incorporate in our projects. So long after we're gone, the spaces function optimally, sustainably, and efficiently. And there's some really cool technology out there that can help with that. And we're looking to expand our charitable efforts. So just continued growth.
Awesome. Well, and what I've heard you share today, it's the impact, right? It's really about the impact and the legacy that we leave on our world. And you're doing some great work. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so happy to have you on the call today. This has been a great conversation. And audience, I hope you've enjoyed, and please do share this episode of inspiration, of finding your passion and how you can give back and have an impact on the world. There's lots of different ways to do that, and Blima and her team have found some pretty interesting and impactful ways to share with the world. So thank you for the work you're doing. That's awesome.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Good. And to our audience, if you're interested in learning more about how you're showing up as a leader, feel free to go onto our wilempowered website, that's 1L, and take our free leadership quiz. It'll give you some insight as to how you're showing up in the world. And thank you everybody for being here today. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and we look forward to having you on the next Will Talk podcast. Take care, everyone.